Real people, real opinions.
Real Talk Radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.
Ireland's classic hits.
Sarah Horgan is from the Echo Live. Sarah, good evening to you.
Hi, how are things?
Not quite as exotic as America, but, exotic nonetheless.
But we've the atmosphere,
Yeah.
You come to Cork for the atmosphere, not for anything else.
And the floods, of course, yeah. Now,
And the floods, yeah.
It's been a bad week in Cork, Sarah, hasn't it, for the floods?
Oh, it's been a bizarre week, and we talk of, we try to count our blessings at times and say at least there wasn't any fatalities. And the other day I heard of a poor little dog in Middleton
I heard that.
didn't make it.
Died.
Did
He
you
died.
hear? Yeah. So the lady was evacuated from her house, and she took one dog, and
The other one drowned.
She could feel him. Yeah, she could feel him pulling at her. The dog that was still alive, and she caught the other fella, and it was too late. He was too small. So when I heard that, I was fine. I was real hardened journalist up to that point when I heard about the little dog not making it. So,
And by the way, bad news for Cork. The weather is supposed to get bad again over the next few days, I believe, and there'll be more rain. So hopefully we won't get that combination of wind, high tide and rain all at the same time again, which plays havoc and wreaks havoc with Cork every 4 or 5 years, which is, at this stage is almost like it's happening every 4 or 5 years. So hopefully that won't happen again with those three combinations of things. I don't understand the whole geographical aspect of it, but I believe that's part of what it is. But look, I wish people of Cork well, and I hope you get your shops and your businesses and your houses back in order again pretty soon with the money the government is going to hand you out. I hope they do anyway. Anyway, a Cork-based psychotherapist with an incredible story has reached the shortlist of the prestigious Mental Health Awards Initiative. Oh, that's some achievement all the same, isn't it?
Yeah, so we'd really like to congratulate Dr. Susan Lawler. She was nominated in the professional category of the Mental Health Awards. They're judged by a panel representing mental health organisations across the UK and internationally. And you might think, what's so special about this story? People get nominated for awards every day, but Dr. Lawler, she co-founded a mental health charity, State of Mind Ireland, with her brother, Dr. Martin Lawler, and he was killed in a hit-and-run accident, or hit-and-run incident back in 2018. So ever since then, they've been trying to get their life back, and Dr. Lawler is carrying on his unfinished business. It was a horrific story at the time. You might even remember it was fairly high profile. He was walking back from a Christmas party that he'd organised for his staff or his colleagues even. Mm-hmm. And he was walking back from this. He might have been walking back to his hotel room. I'm not 100%, but he was walking back anyway, and he was killed, and the taxi driver that killed him kept going, and he was stopped by the guards and said that when they saw the damage to his car, he said that he had hit an animal, which obviously wasn't the case. And I remember saying to Susan, I said, "You've been to hell and back." And she said, "No." She said, "I wouldn't say that. I'd say we've been to hell. We're not back yet." And yet, with all that pain, she's that's the tribute. That's her brother's legacy. That she felt that was the best tribute. She was saying that this bitterness is going to destroy you. You can't be bitter in a situation like this. So she's just gone from strength to strength. And what was ironic about that case was Dr. Martin Lawler, he was known for the dignity he afforded people, and he was afforded no dignity that night. And Susan has managed to take this awful pain and turn it into something constructive and productive. And she's just
That's amazing.
She just really is inspirational.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, another one here. A middle-aged man has been jailed after threatening Brown Thomas staff with the neck of a broken bottle following the theft of 2 bottles of perfume from the Cork City store. Wow. What, like, he kind of held this broken bottle up to them?
Yeah, well, this one caught my eye because it reiterates just what people working in retail have to go through every day. It's really, really difficult and certainly not worth the money people are being paid.
No.
But this middle-aged man, anyway, he threatened Brownhammer staff. It was with the neck of a broken bottle. He had stolen 2 bottles of perfume from this Patrick Street store, and he's been jailed now for 4 months for his offences. So Judge Joanne Carroll jailed Ian O'Sullivan of Cork Simon Community for these offences, and they occurred on June 29th when O'Sullivan pleaded guilty at Cork District Court, and this was by video link from prison. So the judge said, this is a man who broke a bottle and returned to the store and threatened to kill the security staff there. So it was very serious. And his solicitor then said it was a shameful act. He recognises that. He did a psychology course in prison. Everybody does psychology courses now, don't they? Even
it makes them sound educated so they can get out again. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever known somebody who's done a psychology course and they can't switch off? They're just.
But that's the same with every career. No, it's the same with every career. I sorry, go off on a tangent. I remember years ago I was working in a nightclub as a DJ, and this guy came over to me with Copperface Jacks, and he came over to me and he said, "Can you play a request, please, for Sheila? She's with the gang tonight from whatever, I don't know, shop. She's celebrating her birthday." And I went, "Yeah, no problem." And he went, "Can you repeat what I just said?" I said, "Sorry." He said, "Can you repeat what I just said?" I said, "Are you a school teacher?" And he went, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I said, "I'm not 5. So this is what they do. So they're so used to telling people to repeat what they just said, because school teachers do that all the time, of course. Repeat what I just said. So they bring it out. And the same with psychologists. Like, I wouldn't want to go to dinner with a psychologist. They'd be sitting there analysing you while you'd be having dinner with them. You know?
But it becomes a habit, because I'm guilty of it. I ask people a lot of questions.
I do too.
And sometimes I'm not even interested, but it's just the way it's like my brain has been rewired.
Oh, I'm the same. I'm sitting down to dinner with complete strangers, and they're going, "So what do you think of abortion? Do you agree with it or not?" Or you know what I mean? I start throwing topics at them. You know what I mean? That I've done on the show to see what they're thinking. Yeah, I think we all do that. Yeah, but no, I don't know if I've never heard of anyone coming out of prison and actually being a psychologist, although they pretend to study while they're in there.
This guy says that he, according to himself anyway, he set up Gamblers Anonymous as well in Cork Prison. There's so much going on in Cork Prison, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a busy little spot, isn't it? Busy little hub
Seems to
of
be.
entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but the thing about it is, I have no sympathy for anybody who puts a broken bottle to somebody to threaten somebody else. The trauma that puts on people. I remember years ago I was working in a newsagents, and this guy pointed a gun at me to take the till, and I remember how frightening that was. You know, to have a gun, you're looking at the barrel of a gun. It was frightening.
It's mad.
And you have nightmares about it for years. You know what I I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's traumatic.
I'd say so.
You're not taking me seriously.
No, I'm not laughing. I shouldn't be laughing. But you always seem to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, don't you?
I do. I'm going to write a book, so at some point I am. I always remember your man says was, "I don't want any of your guff, right? I want you to go down there and lock yourself in the bathroom." I said, "No problem at all. How would you like me to lock myself in the bathroom?" and I says, "Just to let you know, there's not that much money in the till. It's Saturday morning. We weren't busy. But take all the cigarettes. They're worth a few quid." I was the most cooperative victim ever. When somebody has a gun in their hand, you tend to be cooperative.
That's the thing. If somebody asked you for money from the till, you probably just give it to them, wouldn't you?
Of course.
There probably wasn't even any need for the gun. They could have just said, "Give me the money."
Yeah.
And then escalate to the gun.
If you didn't comply, like. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
A pub goer was left in considerable fear after spotting a man speaking of guns, with a gun in the toilets. Turns out There really was an innocent explanation. What would he be doing with a gun in the jacks? What's the innocent explanation for that?
Okay, so I didn't feel sorry for the last guy, but I do really feel sorry for this guy, and I'll tell you why. So, a music video maker who bought an imitation semi-automatic pistol for a music video, obviously.
Yeah.
So he wanted to put this on TikTok, but is now being told that he was naive in the extreme to put the imitation weapon on top of a urinal in a Cork City pub. It obviously got people panicked, and the judge here is saying that she dismissed him under the Probation of Offenders Act, which is like another way of saying I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, you know.
Yeah, we believe your story.
This was his first conviction of any kind, and he'd never been in any trouble before, but it was he brought it into this pub, and it looked like a really good imitation of a firearm. It looked very impressive, and I can tell you this lad was unlucky, because I could tell you so much, because I was telling you before I'm into filmmaking, but we've had so many near misses like this with misunderstanding when we're filming something.
I know it now comes under the Firearms Act, right? That if you have an imitation in a public place, right? But here's the thing. When I was a kid, we went around with holsters and guns on us. Like good imitation-y plastic ones that looked real. I had a Riddler, which was like a machine gun. And you'd fire it and it would make the sounds and everything. And like, you know, people went around with imitation guns all the time and there was no big deal ever made of it. But yet nowadays you could be locked up for it.
But I have a good friend, and I'm surprised he didn't end up in jail for this misunderstanding. He was filming a short movie, and I can prove this because the film actually did get made. It was there was these two men that were carrying what was made to look like a body wrapped up in a blanket in a sheet through a forest. This was at about midnight, and somebody saw them carrying this bundle through the forest and called the police, and the armed forces ended up down, apparently.
Right.
So
Special
I don't know
response
what
team.
exaggerating about the armed forces. It was probably just the guards, but armed forces sounded good.
Yeah.
But either way, he was in a fair bit of trouble. I had a case with another friend who was making a film where this kid got knocked down by a car, and there was a doctor, and she didn't see the cameras, obviously, and she was she just ran over and just top of her voice, I can help, I'm a doctor, don't panic. I remember we were just standing there with our mouths open.
That proves you were doing a good job.
Before she realized it was so realistic, though. If you'd been there,
that's what I'm saying. I would have been proud of the makeup.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Brian Steins is the filmmaker. He's very talented. You must all look him up.
Okay, well, look, we've 2 minutes and we need to get this to the final story because I'm curious about this one. A former postman received a suspended sentence for the most unusual crime that occurred during his time delivering letters. What did he do? Did he rob money?
No, it was a strange one. So
stealing children's birthday cards. No.
I know that would be a good one. When pressure, there was a lot of pressure on this postman. Apparently, he was overwhelmed by the volume of post he was required to deliver, and he began to accumulate sacks of undelivered mail at the back of his home. But the strange thing is, here it said that was the scenario described anyway at Cork District Court, where Stephen Hagerty pleaded guilty to the single charge of failing to deliver post on June 11th, 2021. So it must all have just been on one day. And I don't know, did he leave it too long? And did he mean to give it back? Or, do you know, sometimes things...
Yes, it's like when you have a video out over days, and you just don't bring it back at all because you owe too much money.
Yeah, it's similar, but this was, they didn't take this lightly anyway. They said the judge said that it was a terrible breach of trust and
Oh, it was, yeah.
UNPOS delivers important posts. I was thinking of people getting hospital appointments because I know they don't email
waiting for
those. You
checks
get
or
them in the
whatever.
post.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he so as far as I know, I think he got the judge imposed a 2-month sentence on the accused, but suspended it on condition that he would attend for treatment for his drug issue. He was fond of the cannabis, apparently.
Well, it is illegal to withhold post from anybody. And many, many years ago, I remember a friend of mine had got separated or divorced or something like that. I can't remember. And he wasn't living at home. And his wife, or ex-wife or ex-partner, whatever she was to him, was chucking all his post in the bin or in the fire or something. I don't know what she was doing with it. But he got her charged and she was done for it. It's illegal. It is actually a crime to withhold somebody else's post.
And when you say she was done, what?
I don't know what she got to. She didn't go to jail, I don't think. But she got a fine or something and, community service or suspended sentence or I don't know, something. She got a fine or something. She can go to jail now.
Yeah.
But it is illegal to withhold a person's post.
Yeah, God, that's
Oh, it's a very
interesting.
old crime. It goes back a long way because post was considered to be the most important thing in the world because, governments got letters about wars and messages through post. So everything was done through post. So it was vital. It was a vital form of communication. So that's why there was such strong laws brought in against it, withholding it.
But do you remember in 2014 there was a postman and his house was raided and they found all the letters underneath his sink at the time, and it sounds like it was the same situation. He just let things get on top of him, but he had opened 4 letters, and from what I can remember, he got the probation act. So they've obviously gotten a little tougher now, and this is a fairly tough, harsh sentence, I thought, for 1 day of post, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, I don't think it was 1 day. Probably what it was, if he had a couple of sacks of them, it was most likely, they just took one sample day to charge him for. They couldn't figure out what days the rest.
Oh, okay. Was that what happened? I was saying, I was saying,
No, they
God
couldn't
love
go-
him, he loads of posts for that 1 day. And no wonder.
No, they
he
couldn't
was
go
sizing
through all the
posts.
posts. They couldn't go through all the posts and figure out what days each one was meant to be delivered on and then charge him for each individual one. So they would just take one sample day. See?
Oh, right. That explains it. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that he had all those to deliver in 1 day, but anyway, I thought he was Santa Claus or something. I don't know.
There you go. Well, listen, it's been lovely talking to you again, Sarah. Should we chat to you again next Monday? Until then, have a wonderful week. And hopefully there'll be no floods.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, here's
Okay.
hoping. See you, bye.
Real people, real opinions.
Real Talk Radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.